All right, hi everyone. This is going to be Chapter 5's chapter practice. This is going to be the last of our Excel challenges for the semester, so let's finish strong. All right, to get started, we're going to be on Chapter 5, which is on describing, exploring, and comparing data. This challenge involves formulas, functions, logic, and lookup functions. So you'll have steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 to go through and read and kind of train yourself on and to use as reference. And if you want to follow along with this video, you can click on Chapter 5, Part 5, which is chapter practice, and download the data file right here. Just to reiterate, once again, chapter scored is your actual assignment. So follow along with the practice to help learn some of the functions you'll be using, but chapter scored is going to be the actual assignment. All right, so let's get started. In this chapter, we've got this file right here, and the first thing it asks us to do is to make B25 our active cell. So B25 is this cell right here. I'm just going to click on that cell, and it says to start typing equals max. And if you click on equals max, you can double click max, and it'll open up the parentheses, or you can just type in open parentheses when you're ready to start the formula. And it's going to ask us to select the range of numbers above row 25. So the range of numbers above 25 is going to be these numbers right here, which it explicitly says will be equals max B5 through B24. All right, so we go ahead and hit enter. Oops. And let's see, can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, so right here, max B5 to B24. After we press enter, it says use fill handle to copy the calculation all the way through. So we can click it right here and drag all the way down to the, where do we need to get to? All the way to column N. So we've got the highest value from any of these particular rows. So what this is telling us here is that, if you're looking at possibly setting a curve, did anyone score maximum value on any of the tests or chapter quizzes? And if you look at this, you can see that, yes, somebody did get a 10 out of 10. All right, so probably the quiz was passable, probably in good shape. Right here, yes, somebody did get 10 out of 10. And then we can see at the very end of it, what was the highest score obtained by anyone in the class. Now, these numbers don't add up to 150, they add up to 240. So the highest anyone obtained in the class appears to be 150 out of 240, which I don't think looks great, but maybe they were drop your lowest quiz or drop your lowest test or something. I'm not sure, but we'll move along. So it says by default, the calculations that it copies always change references relative to the row or column you copy them to. You wouldn't want to copy N to L, etc. If you want to see the formulas themselves, you can press the tilde button, which is the little squiggly line. If I push that button, it will change and display, which is hold shift. No, sorry, not control tilde, and it'll show that I've done a formula. I could make these columns wider to read the entire formula, but this is a lot of times what I'm looking to see, did students make use of formulas? I'll use this real quick to see, okay, yeah, they've got the formula right, click back and then start looking at the answers. So makes it easier as an instructor to look for use of formulas and use of the correct reference cells by clicking on that instead of clicking on every individual cell. I can just highlight it real quick. Quick analysis tool, it does say it's not available for use if you have a Mac, so there's an alternative instruction below. But let's see here. What we can do is we can select the range from B5 all the way to B95. We do that by clicking once and highlighting all of it. And then in the lower right, we've got the quick analysis tool, which pops up. So let's go ahead and click it. Now, from there, it gives me a bunch of options. The option I want to look at is under the totals tab, and then select totals and then sum option. Okay, so we'll click on sum. Highlights the right column, select sum. Selecting sum option places equal sum in column O. Okay, so what did I do wrong here? Let's see, what did I miss? Totals, sum. Okay, right here. Sum, if you look, it's got it as a row, which will do the row beneath, or you can do the sum in the column to the right, and it's got it highlighted there in the book. So right there, we've got 390 in that section. Let's see here, let me delete all this out. Am I highlighting the right amount? Okay, select range of B5. Okay, so I misread that. Select the entire range of B5 to N95, then do the totals in the column to the right. All right, so let's do that one more time. All the way from B5 down. I just did the bottom row. All right, quick analysis, totals, and then sum. There we go. Total points are over on the right. Fantastic. All right, from here, the alternative, if you have a Mac, is you select all of that area, including the column O, and then go to auto sum on the ribbon, and then click the bold button. So, all right, so let's do that. As an alternative, I can select all of this, and then go to auto sum, which is located under formulas, I believe. Yep, there it is, auto sum, and there we go. So it does the same thing. So just an extra step, as the little analysis thing is not going to pop up for you if you have a Mac. All right. So all those figures are still there. I'm going to drag this over so the entire word percentage is showing. And the next thing we want to do is column P. We want to do a percentage. So it tells us here before we look into creating it, you need to know what we're looking for. Smart lookup. Okay, right. So select cell P4, which says percentage, find the smart lookup tool on the review tab and click it. All right, so we're going to select percentage, we're going to go to the review tab, and then we're going to go to smart lookup. There we go, smart lookup. And because it sees the word percentages, it's going to tell us how to calculate percentages in Microsoft or figure up a bunch of other possible hits. I can click on that. It'll take us to the web or give us more information about it. Once we're done with that, we can go ahead and close that once we have the definitions that we need. But percentage is simply the points that you earned divided by the total of points possible. Okay. So now that we know what a percentage is, we can have it do the calculation. We need to divide the total points earned by all the points possible. So all the points possible is going to be the cell in O5, which is the highest value on each of these. So 390 was the total points available. 390 points. I said that wrong earlier. I think I said there was more points, but could be mistaken. So 390 was the highest possible points. So okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. We had a 370, had a 390. I don't know what I was seeing earlier when I referenced the scores were very low, because some of these scores are very high. All right. So what we want to do is in cell P5, we're going to select equals, and then we're going to select O5, which is this cell right here, and then divide by O25, which is going to give us a percentage score right here. And then we're going to, it's going to actually have it, we're going to do this, but it's going to give it to us incorrectly. It's going to show us what's wrong here. We get divide by 0. And the reason is because what's happening, it's teaching us as we're going that as we copy this value down to here, this reference is shifting down one, which we wanted to, but we did not want this to happen. We did not want the reference to shift down to cell O26. We want that reference to be an absolute reference, meaning it doesn't move at all. So to do that, we can go back to P5 right here. We can go to O25 right here, and we can press F4 while we're on top of O25, and it will put a $sign before the O, $sign before the 25, and that's going to lock in that cell as an absolute reference. Now, I said F4. If you are on a keyboard that is attached to your laptop, probably F4 is something like volume up or brightness down or something by default. And so you've got a button on your home row of keys that says FN, usually in lowercase, stands for function. It turns it back into the F function of those F keys at the top. So if you hold the FN button and press F4, it'll actually select F4 instead of the keyboard shortcut on your laptop. Some keyboards on desktop computers will do the same thing if you have a specialty keyboard that has additional functions on it. And I believe all Macintosh computers will do that by default as well. So it's F4, but you might have to hold the function, the FN button, and then press F4 to lock it in. And if nothing else, you can always just type a $sign here and a $sign here on your own. But either way, we've got this correct. And now when we copy it down, it's going to divide each of these percentages by 390 instead. So we filled that in, and the next thing we want to do, we don't want to have these long decimals. We want to select the numbers here and then turn that into a percentage. So if you click the percentage, I don't like to do that because it defaults to whole numbers. So typically I like to show numbers with decimal places. So if I click the drop down instead, the percentage down here is 95.64 or whatever. You can see that it does put decimal points in if you select it from the drop down. If you just select the percentage button here, it doesn't put decimals, rounds to the nearest whole number, but we probably want to have that there. Now we want to do some additional information on this. We want, let's see here. Clearly we want to put the grades in, but let's see. More functions, create the sample worksheet. This section, consider the example of referencing a name. Okay, so kind of just stops right there. Interesting, it just stops. Click in front of the column reference, okay. Well, I didn't realize that. Well, I'm gonna keep going, I think. So this is an example, create the sample worksheet with names, values, gives us some additional functions we can type in. What's on the part size one, okay. So looks like when this textbook was made, they cut off some of these instructions. Well, we definitely want to do what we can here. What we can do is we can set up an if statement. I think it might be maybe more advanced than is necessary for this class, but I'll just show you to do it anyway. What we can do is we can set up a that's probably why, because it would be a long function. Sure, let's just show you don't probably need to watch this part. I don't think it'll happen in your textbook, but we do want a letter grade assigned to it. So what we can do is we can say if this option is greater than 90%, then a comma if this is greater than, I guess, or equal to, right? Greater than or equal to 90%, greater than or equal to 80%, then open quotes B. If you want to have a letter appear for this, you would type it in quotation marks. What we're doing is we're saying if this passes the test, then do this. This is this value if this is true. But we're never moving to the value if false until the very end. So what we're going to do is after we do that, we're going to type comma, and then we're going to write if again. And we're going to write if this is greater than or equal to 70%, then type comma, write a C, comma, if this is greater than or equal to 60%, comma, type B, and then everything else, so below 60% is going to be everything else. So at this point, we no longer have to write if, we can just say value of false. If none of these things are true, then it's going to be the default, which is an F. So value of false, if none of those things are true, if it's not over 60, 70, 80, 90%, then value of false is going to be F. And then we kind of got to match the colors to close our parentheses. The earliest parentheses was a black color, then a red one, and then a purple one, and then a green one. So we've got green, purple, red, black. That's all the parentheses we need at the end. Hit enter, and we have an A. And sure enough, this is 90%. And to test this, I'll drag it down. We've got a C. This should be an F, and it is. And we can drag it all the way down. And we're done. Pass fail, I would assume if you were running off of a pass fail grade instead, probably equals if this is you're assuming a D is a pass versus a C is a pass. In a normal pass fail grade, it would where it's only pass fail would be a C or higher. So I guess we can go with that. So if this is greater than or equal to 70%, we could say pass. Otherwise, we could say fail, close the parentheses, and it'd be a pass. Drag this down. And probably, you know, if somebody was failing, we'd want it to be highlighted differently. So what we can do is we can say conditional formatting, highlight cells rules. And this is just kind of a fun one. We could say text that contains the letter F because none of the other ones contain the letter F. We can say, okay, so all these fails. So even though we got a D, he or she got a D, Tamara, I'm not sure they'd be brilliant, but got a D. It would be considered a fail if it was a pass-fail course, but it'd be considered a D. So it'd be a fail if it was like a core class in the business college, but depending on your major and depending on if you like a D sometimes gets credit. So we'll kind of leave that in a gray area of it fails as a pass-fail, but it's a letter grade in D. So there we go. I don't really know what they would look for us to do on this this extra park size. We're going to skip that, but oh, there's some letter grades down here. Yeah. So all right. Well, anywho, yeah, that's it. That's our grades. That's our some if functions, some use of the max formula, some use of the percentage formula, locking in cells. So I should get you going on your Excel challenge. Thanks, everyone. As always, let me know if you have any questions that pop up.